The Louvre Museum, one of the world's largest and greatest museums, is located on the right bank of the Seine River in the first arrondissement of Paris. The museum is housed in the iconic French palace, the Louvre Palace, surrounded by a vast complex of wings and pavilions. In French royal architecture, wings are large structures above the ground to form a courtyard. The protruding sections at the corners and the centers of each side of the wing are known as pavilions. Wings and the pavilions are adorned with abundant architectural structures and reliefs representing important historic and allegorical figures in Western history. Two statues called Renomies, which are mythological winged female figures symbolizing fame, were put in place in 1638 on the pediment of the pavilion. Inspired by the caryatids featuring in Greek temples, a set of caryatids were built into the facade of the pavilion in 1640. In ancient Greek architecture, caryatids were used for centuries as architectural supports instead of columns or pillars, and are always depicted as ornate female figures. A bas-relief depicting Moses holding the Ten Commandments was sculpted in 1806 on orders of Napoleon Bonaparte. The colonnade under the pavilion is a sequence of columns joined by the entablature. The space between the colonnade is a passageway, which invites visitors to enter the main court. The Louvre Museum, the world's most visited museum and a cultural and historic landmark in Paris, covers a massive area of 652,000 square feet. It's home to some of the best-known works of art, including Mona Lisa and the Venus de Milo. This is the room of Mona Lisa. There are at least 500 people in this room. Walking through the passage in the Richelieu wing from Rue de Rivoli, passing through the colonnade under the pavilion, you will arrive at the Court Napoleon, the main courtyard in the Louvre Palace, where the Louvre Museum is situated. Over the course of several centuries, the palace was built, modified, destroyed, and reconstructed under different French monarchs. Its apparent stylistic consistency is largely due to conscious efforts of architects over several centuries to echo each other's work and preserve a strong sense of historical continuity, mirroring that of the French monarchy and the state. Before becoming one of the world's largest and greatest museums, the fate of the Louvre was closely tied to the history of France and Paris. Built between 1190 and 1202 under the reign of French King Philip Auguste, the Louvre was initially a fortress to defend the capital city before it was transformed for royal occupation, and then expanded into a sprawling palace, which was both a seat of political power and a residence of artists. During the French Revolution, the National Assembly decreed that the Louvre should be used as a museum to display the nation's masterpieces. In 1793, the Louvre opened to public as a museum. Over a period of 800 years, the Louvre Palace has gradually evolved from a medieval fortress to the museum of today. This transformation from fortress to palace to museum, from one great building project to the next, is a part of a rich French history that is still being written today.